I've been knitting away on the thumb and I think it's time now to do some decreases. It's important not to make the thumb too short. It's very tempting, when you're nearly at the top of your thumb. And I think I'm probably only going to do one round of decreases. So that will affect the fabric that I've already made. So I like it to be just a tiny bit taller than the thumb. So I think we've reached that point now. Up to this point, I had 17 stitches in my thumb, and that seemed to fit just nicely. So even though my pattern was slightly lopsided, I wasn't concerned about it. I've got 2 plain stitches on this side of those motifs and 1 on that side. I decreased away that odd pair of stitches a couple of rounds ago, and that leaves me with 16 pairs of stitches. And I'm also going to go only into a single colour, so it's going to be the raspberry on the outside and the green on the inside for all the decreases. This is something you can mess about with. So I'm going to rearrange my stitches as before. So I'm slipping both my front stitches, rescuing the back one, and then I'm just going to knit those 2 together using the raspberry colour because I want that to be on the outside all the way round. So I'm going to knit those 2 together in raspberry, and then I'm going to purl these 2 together, and because they're unconventionally mounted, I can go in from the second stitch into the first and then purl those 2 together. We don't have to have the directions of slope matching, and I think I've mangled that stitch, but I'll go back and have another go. So I've got 16 pairs of stitches right now, so I'm going to make 8 decreases, and each one of them I'm going to do the same. Slip the 2 front stitches as if to knit. That stitch was strangely mounted, having previously dropped it, and then knit those 2 together, and then the next 2 come into the second stitch first, then the first one, and work those 2 together. So in fact, our front stitch is sloping to the right and our back decrease is sloping to the right, but because you won't actually see these 2 decreases side by side, there's no need to do anything more complex here, and we're going to work all the way around until we only have 8 pairs left. Now that we're down to 8 pairs, all I have to do is divide them the same as I divided them at the top of the mitten. So I've got a red tail to do the outside stitches and a green tail for the inside, and just work round one needle at a time. There we go. Collecting the stitches of the separate layers on their respective tails. So we've got stunt hands working now, and what we have to do is make sure we have 2 pairs side by side on a needle. So that was just slipping a pair across so that we can do the decrease. Rearranging the stitches. And now it's possible to make that decrease. I'm going to just get rid of the green yarn and pop it through to the other side. And if I just dive the needle through the fabric, just any old wear, I can pull that down out of the way without turning the mitten inside out at this point. Now all that remains to do is to gently gather those up, and suddenly it's pretty. Always makes me think of cow's udders. and I'm going to go round at least twice because this is a fairly strong or fairly tough spot to be in the mitten, and then I will take the tail between the layers and darn in the end. We'll cover thumb neatening because we do have holes at the base of the thumb. We'll cover those in the next video.